Alright, guys, today we are watching 6 very confusing things about the American Midwest. It's just been a month that I've started learning about America, so today we are exploring into another part of America I barely know anything about. This is the Midwest. And what exactly is the Midwest? Like, is it geographically? Is it culturally? I keep hearing this term, but I don't get which states count on this. So, you guys better explain me. I'm betting on you, Americans. So, yeah, I hope this video solves some mystery around it, but I'm hoping you guys explain this better. Let's start.
Hello, I've lived in the American Midwest now for 17 years and I've had a great time living here. It's just that on occasion, it's very confusing. And today, in the aftermath of the most recent Chicago snowstorm, I feel like it's my duty to let you in on some of the reasons as to why. So if you're American and you like hearing some foreigner talk about your country and you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, do that now.
Uh,
In the meantime, here are 6 things about the Midwest that confuse me.
is it like snowy and very, uh, cold temperature out there in the Midwest, or is it only in the Chicago due to the, maybe snowstorm? Or like whole Midwest is like the, snowy region of America?
First of all, when I found out that I was moving to the Midwest, I thought, that's great. I've heard good things about the American West. Mountains, gunslingers, Golden Gate Bridge. And then I
Okay,
moved
so
here and
Golden
realized,
Gate
oh,
Bridge.
this isn't really the West, is it? Certainly not the middle of the West. It's not really the east of the West, if there's such a thing. But when you look at it on a map, it's more like the west of the east, which I've
So
since
that
learned
is
is
the
confusing
Midwest.
to a lot of
Let's
Americans.
just
So
start. Let's
imagine what it...
just see that part. Okay. So this is actually the Midwest part. Hmm. Interesting.
like the west of the east, which I've since learned is confusing to a lot of Americans. So imagine what it's like for a foreigner coming here. And, there'll be these historians who will ruin this segment by saying, ooh, but that dates back to a time when the eastern United States was the entire country. So everything
What?
west of that was considered western, and the Midwest was in the middle of what was then understood to be the West. And I get all of
Yeah,
that, that's
I
fine,
mean,
but that was then, right? This is 2025. And my thing is, it's currently quite popular, apparently, to rename certain places in America. Why don't they... The rest of that was considered time when the eastern United States was the entire country. So everything west of that was considered western, and the Midwest was in the middle of what was then understood to be the West. And I get all of that, that's fine, but that was then, right? This is 2025. And my thing is, it's currently quite popular, apparently, to rename certain places in America. Why don't they just do that with the Midwest? Call it, the Great Flat North or something like that, or...
I mean, you guys could call it mid-north. It's on the mid-northern part, right? So why not call it that? Maybe that would be better, but Americans, do comment. Why do you don't want the name to be changed? Because Midwest sounds badass? Just let me know in the comments.
Hellscape. But while we're on the subject of things that are all over the map, that brings me on to your personal data. See, if you type your name into one of the many people search sites on the internet, it might pull up old addresses, relatives, or even your political beliefs. These sites scrape together enormous profiles from data brokers, companies that buy and sell your personal information, from your browsing habits to court records to, in extreme cases, your financial and even health history. And this is happening constantly. According to the Identity Theft Resource Center, data breaches jumped 72% in 2023. That's why, for the past year and a half, I've been using today's sponsor, Incogni. Incogni does the bit I absolutely cannot do myself. In that time, it has contacted nearly 750 data brokers on my behalf and removed my Incogni keeps working on the list. Let them get on with it, which is great because I'd rather spend my time shoveling snow, and I hate shoveling snow. Go to incogni.com/lostinthepond and use my code LOSTINTHEPOND for an exclusive 60% off an annual plan. The link is in my description below. What the heck is that? Oh. I found the poop scoop. Some of the things that confuse me about the Midwest are very Chicago specific because that's where I live. I think chief among those is this thing called dibs, which is something that people do here during heavy snowfall like this, and they want to reserve a place for their car in the road. So they shovel up all of the snow and they go, I'll have this spot, and they'll put a chair to reserve that space, regardless of whether or not that's in front of where they live. In fact, somebody did that to me once out here. I had to tell them to off.
Wow, do you guys really do that? I mean, do you guys really put on a chair in front of the others' houses if there's no snow, or if you just clear the snow? Why not clear the snow of your house? Oh my God, that is crazy though. Like, people fighting each other for the car parking.
Luckily, I've got a garage, so nobody's taking dibs on that. We keep
Okay.
our car in there, which is one of the great things, actually, because when I lived in Indiana, we didn't have a garage, and so I'd be the one responsible for having to clean off the car. But this dibs thing,
Wow,
it all
that's a
seems a bit
car.
petty. You know, we all have to walk around in the snow. If you have to park down there
I've never
because
seen
that's
snow
the
in
only
my life,
available
so this
place
is
for you,
crazy
do
for
that.
me.
Don't take valuable parking space away from us, law-abiding citizens. Not to suggest that dibbing is breaking the law, but it feels like it is.
How do you guys live
One
in
thing
this
that I'll never
situation?
understand is
Like
why are
all over the place
Midwesterners
there's
so
snow.
polite? Actually, let me
I can't
rephrase that.
even imagine
How are
living there.
Midwesterners so polite? I mean, they're all like, hey, buddy, need a ride? Or, you betcha. And I'm just looking around thinking, how can you be polite in this? This is my 17th winter in the Midwest, and I've become less polite as the years have gone on. I don't know if you've noticed.
Trick or treat!
Look at you. Who are you dressed as?
Clifford, the big red dog.
Oh, that's adorable. So you're dressed as a dog then?
Yeah,
Right. I mean, if I give you some of this, it might look like I'm giving chocolate
yeah.
to a dog. Do you see why that would be unethical? Next year, do Charlie Bucket. Yeah. Bye. This snowfall that
he's
you see
funny.
around you right here, this started in November, and the cold is going to continue until February, by which point I am an absolute sad sack of Whereas to Frank down the street, this is his childhood. My childhood, while occasionally snowy, was never as cold as this, and very rarely as deep as this. So I don't know how Midwesterners are so polite. Is it the church? Does it make you be that way? Is it like with Norwegian people where this is all they've ever known? And so they've learned to cultivate a resistance to it that borders on psychopathic. But, you know, if you come up to me all cheery in the parking lot of Menards and you expect me to reciprocate, you're going to have to pay me. Or buy me a cordless power drill. Now, I say that I've lost all politeness, but in hindsight, that's not entirely true because I've developed a form of Midwestern politeness, which is to say the word ope. So, for example, I've
Ope?
just sat in an absolute plethora of snow, and when I did so, I should have said, ope, I did just realise I didn't clean off the chair. Usually, though, this
Oh,
is
so
a
it's like,
phrase that
oops.
I've just started saying
Ope.
when I accidentally bump into somebody in a corridor because they say it to me. It's quite contagious, a bit like the flu that I'm going to catch from sitting in this chair.
Oh,
And so I think this is indicative of how the Midwest has changed me, because when it isn't winter, I am polite. I think I've merged British politeness with Midwestern politeness to form one big super politeness. So I occasionally do find myself saying, you betcha, and I don't even live in Minnesota. It just sort of, I don't know, trickles down to Chicago by osmosis. Anyway, I need a tissue. I remember once reading a little fun fact.
I want to ask you guys, like, I've never been on the snow, but sitting on that chair with on the snow, like, won't you get wet? I just want to ask that. Like, that just came to my mind, but he sat on that chair. I mean, it's water, right? I think snow is just like a water, so you should get wet. Sorry for asking dumb questions. Just asking whatever comes to my mind. So please bear me with that.
About the Midwest, and it was this. The Midwest has more water towers per square mile than any other region in the United States. But I didn't doubt it for a second because, just driving around various towns and cities in the Midwest, you don't need a GPS to tell you where you are. You just look out of your window and up at the steel tower because it has the name of the town on it. And it feels like in the Midwest, some towns have like 3 of them. And I couldn't figure out why that was. Were people in the Midwest just,
That is
more
good.
inclined to being hydrated and having
What
the
is that,
water
though?
sorted out?
Is that a salt?
Salt. And so finally,
why
years
do you
after
put-
learning that
put
piece
salt?
of trivia, I thought now, while making this video, might be the right time to learn why the Midwest is so obsessed with them. So let's go to the computer. Well, from what I can tell, the Midwest has more water towers because the Midwest is very flat. And that apparently makes it harder
Okay.
for water systems to have good water pressure compared with in mountainous areas where the water source is already
Got it. So it's in the height, and you get the water flowing to all the
at a
places.
high elevation and
yeah.
gravity sort of takes over, I think. So here in Chicago, we draw a lot of our water from Lake Michigan, which is below or level with the area of consumption. So they have to store the water pressure in one of these water towers, and it replicates the pressure that you might find in otherwise more elevated areas. Yeah, I only understood about half of that. I suppose the quick answer is that the Midwest is flat. And finally, goodbye.
Yeah,
I
I
will
mean,
never, ever
that is,
understand how a person
okay, Midwest is actually flat. I got it.
from the Midwest can take what should just be a 2-minute salutation, say, we're leaving now, my husband's an introvert, let's get in the car and we'll see you next year. But no, because right at the last second, somebody has to make a plan for a state fair that's not going to happen for 8 months. That then devolves into politics. Before you know it, it's dark outside and I have fallen asleep in the corner. But the thing is, I think a lot of us non-Midwesterners, if we've made up our mind that we're leaving, it has to be that second. It can't be in an hour from now. Actually, nowadays, I'm so used to my wife's family doing this that I just go straight to the car and turn on the engine and I wait for them there. But one of the problems with fake leave
I hate that.
is that
I
a lot
hate
of the time
that.
they're so embroiled in their conversation, they don't realize you fake leaved. So they're like, oh, he's in the toilet. We can talk for even longer. So there's really no winning with this. You know, when I think about it, it really is just the equivalent of British people not being able to hang up on a phone call. Where it goes
Yeah.
like this. Okay, it was great speaking to you, love. Yep, I'll call you next week. Yep, goodbye. Yep, bye, goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
And okay, the Midwest is really confusing, but I've never been to snow, but I would love to be in that weather. Everything seems so extreme over there. Like the weather, it seems so extreme, but people not able to end the conversation. That's wholesome, although it's kind of, if I have to wait for someone to just finish the conversation, then that's bad. But if I am in a conversation and somebody can't wait for me, that's bad too. So yeah, that is kind of wholesome as well. And please, don't tell me that Midwest people, they are super friendly, right? I don't want them to be not giving chocolates to the kids. So this is the best part of reacting to America. Like every region, feels like it's a different world. And if you guys want me to react more US regions, accents, maybe cultural differences, let me know in the comment. Let me know what videos that you want to watch. And thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. For now, bye.